She told me, "You don't need to know where I'm going. Trust me." Then her brother sent me a photo of her sitting on some guy's lap at a house party. I didn't argue. I just blocked her. The next morning, she was screaming in my office lobby. Hey viewers, before we move on to the video, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button if you want to see more stories like this. Thanks. I remember the smell of her perfume hanging heavy in the hallway. It was that expensive stuff I bought her for Christmas. The kind that smelled like vanilla and smoke, usually. I love that smell. That night, it just made my stomach turn. It was 9:30 p.m. on a Friday. I had just finished a 60-hour week at the firm. My eyes were burning. My back ached. And all I wanted was to order a deep dish pizza, crack open a beer, and watch a mindless action movie with my girlfriend of 3 years, Sarah. But Sarah had other plans. She came out of the bedroom looking like a weapon. She was wearing a dress I hadn't seen before. Something short, black, and backless that clung to her in a way that screamed single and looking. She was fixing an earring, not even looking at me. "You look nice," I said from the couch, though the words tasted like ash. "Where are you headed?" "Just out," she said, grabbing her clutch out where I asked, trying to keep my voice casual, like to a bar. "A club. Are you meeting the girls?" She finally looked at me. It wasn't a look of affection. It was that tired, condescending look she perfected over the last 6 months. The look that said I was a boring, suffocating anchor in her exciting life. God, Mark, why does it always have to be an interrogation? She sighed her, rolling her eyes toward the ceiling. "I'm going to a house party. A friend of a friend is hosting." "Which friend?" I pressed, "Is it Jessica?" Because Jessica is in Cabo this weekend. She froze for a split second, then recovered with a scoff. "No, it's not Jessica. You don't know them. It's some people from my old marketing job." I stood up. My gut was screaming at me. "Sarah, you're dressed for a nightclub, not a house chill, and you won't tell me whose house it is. That's weird, right? That's objectively weird." She walked over to me, but she didn't hug me. She just poked me in the chest with a manicured finger. "This is exactly why I don't invite you to these things," she said, her voice dripping with venom. "You kill the vibe. You get all territorial and insecure. I need space to breathe. Mark, I need to be Sarah, not just Mark's girlfriend. I just want to know where you are in case of an emergency," I said, trying to be reasonable. That's basic relationship stuff." She laughed. "It was a cold sound. You don't need to know where I'm going," she said, emphasizing every word, like she was speaking to a toddler. "You just need to trust me. Can you do that? Can you be a man and just trust your girlfriend?" She checked her phone. "My Uber is here. Sarah, if you walk out that door without telling me where you're going, we have a problem. We already have a problem. Mark, it's called your insecurity. Don't wait up." She didn't kiss me goodbye. She just turned on her heel, the black dress swishing around her thighs, and walked out the door. I heard the lock click and then the sound of heels fading down the hallway. I stood there in the silence of the apartment I paid for, surrounded by the furniture I bought, feeling like the biggest idiot on the planet. I almost ran after her. I almost begged her to stay, but I didn't. I just sat back down on the couch. I didn't order the pizza. I just stared at the blank TV screen, waiting for the other shoe to drop. The silence in the apartment was deafening. I tried to distract myself with video games, but I couldn't focus. I tried to read, but the words swam on the page. At around midnight, I almost texted her. I typed out, "Hope you're having fun. Just let me know you're safe." Then I deleted it. She had told me to trust her. She'd weaponized that word. If I texted her, I was proving her right, that I was the insecure, nagging boyfriend. So I forced myself to put the phone face down on the coffee table. I must have dozed off around 1:00 a.m. I woke up to the sound of buzzing, violin, repeated buzzing against the wood of the table. I groaned, rubbing my face. I looked at the clock. 1:42 a.m. I picked up the phone, expecting a drunk text from Sarah asking for a ride or telling me she was crashing at a girlfriend's place. It wasn't Sarah. It was Dave. Dave was Sarah's older brother. He and I were actually close. We played Call of Duty together on Tuesday nights. I helped him fix his deck last summer. He was a solid guy. A union electrician who hated drama and loved his family. He had told me once, after a few too many beers, that he didn't know how I put up with Sarah's princess complex. There were 3 messages from Dave 140A. Bro, Dave, 141A. I'm so sorry. I told her to cut it out, but she's wasted. Dave, 142A. Don't shoot the messenger. You deserve better than this trash. Then an image file. My heart hammered against my ribs like a trapped bird. My thumbs hovered over the screen. I didn't want to open it. I knew that once I opened it, my life, as I knew it was over. The trust she demanded would be exposed for what it was. I tapped the image. It was taken in a dimly lit living room. The resolution was high enough to see everything clearly. There were red Solo cups everywhere. It was definitely a party. In the center of the frame, on a beige love seat, was Sarah. She wasn't just talking to a guy. She wasn't just dancing near a guy. She was straddling him. She was sitting squarely on his lap. Her black dress hiked up high on her thighs. Her arms were wrapped tight around his neck. Her face buried in the side of his neck. Laughing. The guy, some generic dude in a backwards baseball cap, had one hand holding a beer and the other hand resting comfortably, possessively on her lower back. They looked like a couple. They looked like they had been together for years. I zoomed in on her face. Her eyes were half closed. She looked euphoric. She looked completely unburdened by the existence of a boyfriend who paid her rent and listened to her vent about her co-workers every night. I stared at the photo for a long time. Maybe 5 minutes. I expected to cry. I expected to feel that hot screaming rage where you want to punch a wall, but I didn't feel any of that. Instead, I felt a sudden icy calm wash over me. It was the feeling of a fever breaking. The confusion was gone. The gaslighting that you're insecure. The trust me that it's just a friend. It all evaporated. I wasn't crazy. I wasn't insecure. I was right. I saved the photo to my camera roll. I took a screenshot of Dave's text just in case she tried to lie and say it was an old photo. Then I stood up. I didn't scream. I didn't throw a vase. I moved with the efficiency of a man closing a business deal. I went to the kitchen and grabbed a box of heavy-duty black trash bags. I walked into the bedroom. I didn't pack everything. I didn't have time for that. I packed the essentials. Here, makeup bag, her daily clothes, her laptop, her shoes. I swept her toiletries off the bathroom counter into a bag, not caring. If the shampoo bottles leaked, it took me 20 minutes to fill 4 large bags. I dragged them to the front door and set them outside on the welcome mat. I didn't add a note. A note would imply there was something left to say. I came back inside. I went to the front door. I engaged the deadbolt. Then I engaged the security chain. I sat down on the couch and picked up my phone again. I opened her contact. Block. I opened Instagram. Block. I opened Facebook. Block. I opened Snapchat. Block. I texted Dave back. Thanks. Men, I owe you one. Seriously. Then I put my phone on Do Not Disturb, walked into the bedroom, and laid down in the middle of the bed. It felt bigger now. Cleaner. She had told me I didn't need to know where she was going. She was right. And now she didn't need to know where I was going either. I closed my eyes. And for the first time in months, I slept like a baby. The real show was going to start in the morning, and I needed to be rested. I woke up at 6:00 a.m. without an alarm. That hadn't happened in years. Usually, I woke up to Sarah's snoozed alarm going off 4 times or her tossing and turning because she was stressed about a presentation she hadn't prepared for. But this morning, the apartment was still. It was a heavy, peaceful stillness. I sat up and stretched. My back didn't hurt. My head was clear. It was strange. I knew I should be devastated. I knew the societal script said I should be curled up in a ball, weeping over the betrayal. But the truth was, I felt lighter. It was as if I had been carrying a backpack full of rocks up a mountain for 3 years, and someone had finally cut the straps. I reached for my phone on the nightstand. 47 missed calls. 12 voicemails. Blocked messages. Hidden. The notifications were a wall of red. She had started calling around 8:00 a.m., which meant she hadn't come home last night. She had stayed with him. She had woken up in a strange bed, probably hungover, reached for her phone to check in with her safety net, me, and hit a digital wall. I didn't listen to the voicemails. I didn't check the blocked texts. I didn't care what her excuse was. Was she going to say her phone died? That she fell asleep on a couch? That the photo was photoshopped? It didn't matter. The court of my opinion had already adjourned, and the verdict was final. I got out of bed and started my routine. I showered. I took my time picking out a suit, charcoal grey, crisp white shirt, a tie I usually save for client meetings. I wanted to look sharp. I wanted to feel armored. When I opened the front door to leave for work, The black trash bags were still there on the mat, exactly where I had left them. She hadn't even come back to the apartment yet. She had gone straight from the party to wherever she was now. I stepped over the bags, locked the door, and walked to my car. The drive to the office was silent. No radio. Just the hum of the engine. I thought about the word trust. She had used it like a shield, hiding behind it to do whatever she wanted. She wanted the freedom of a single woman with the security of a committed relationship. She wanted me to pay the rent and kill the spiders, but she wanted to sit on another man's lap and feel the thrill of the new. She wanted to have her cake and eat it. Well, I had just taken the cake away. I pulled into the parking garage at 830A. I grabbed a coffee from the lobby cafe. I took the elevator up to the 14th floor. Greeted the receptionist, Linda, with a genuine smile, and sat down at my desk. I was productive. I answered emails. I reviewed spreadsheets. My coworkers asked me how my weekend started, and I said, surprisingly refreshing. I was in the zone. I was moving on. Then, the phone on my desk rang. It was Linda from the front desk. Her voice was hushed, uncomfortable. Mark, I'm really sorry to bother you. What's up? Linda, there's a woman down here. Sarah, she says she's your girlfriend. Mark, she's causing a bit of a scene. She's demanding to see you. She says it's a medical emergency. But Linda paused. She doesn't look injured. She just looks upset. Isal, I looked at the spreadsheet on my screen. I really didn't want to deal with this. Is security there? I asked. Jeff is standing by. Yes. Okay. I said, my voice steady. Tell her, I'm coming down. But Linda, if she screams, have Jeff remove her. Understood. I hung up the phone. I adjusted my tie in the reflection of my monitor. Then I stood up and walked toward the elevators. I wasn't going down there to argue. I was going down there to close the file. The elevator ride down felt like it took an hour, though it was only 30 seconds. When the door slid open, the cool, conditioned air of the lobby hit me. Our office lobby is all glass and polished marble. It's a place of business. Lawyers, accountants, and consultants walk through there in 1,000 suits, speaking in hushed tones about mergers and acquisitions. And there, in the middle of this pristine environment, was Sarah. She was a visual car crash. She was still wearing the black dress from the night before, but in the harsh daylight, it looked cheap and toddy. It was wrinkled and stained. Her heels were in her hand. She was barefoot on the marble floor. Her makeup, the smoky eye she had spent an hour perfecting, was smeared down her cheeks in raccoon streaks. Her hair was a bird's nest of tangles. She looked like the aftermath of a bad decision. She was pacing back and forth in front of the reception desk, arguing with Jeff, our security guard. People were staring. A group of partners from the law firm upstairs were whispering as they walked past. When she saw me step out of the elevator, she stopped pacing. Her face crumbled. Mark, schrieket. The sound echoed off the glass walls. She ran toward me. Jeff took a step to intercept, but I held up a hand to stop him. I stood my ground, hands in my pockets, my face completely blank. She stopped 2 feet in front of me. She smelled like stale vodka, sweat, and regret. Why is the chain on the door? She demanded, her voice trembling between rage and panic. Why is my key not working? Why are my bags on the porch? And why the hell are you blocking me? You're making a scene. Sarah, I said. My voice was low, calm, and professional. Lower your voice. Don't you tell me to lower my voice. She yelled, pointing a finger in my face. Her hand was shaking. You locked me out. I had to take an Uber here with no money. I had to beg the driver to wait. What is wrong with you? Are you having a psychotic break? I'm not the one barefoot in a corporate lobby. I noted dryly. I stayed at Jessica's. She lied. The lie came out so easily. So practiced. My phone died. I fell asleep, and I wake up to find you've evicted me. That's illegal. Mark, you can't just throw me out because you're insecure. Jessica's, I repeated. Yes. Jessica's. We had wine. We watched a movie. I passed out. God, you are so controlling. You couldn't handle not knowing where I was for one night. I didn't say anything. I just pulled my phone out of my pocket. I unlocked it, opened the photo gallery, and brought up the picture David sent me. I turned the screen toward her. Jessica looks different these days. I said, did she start lifting weights? Grow a beard? Wear a baseball cap? Sarah froze, her eyes locked onto the screen. I watched the blood drain from her face. Her mouth opened, but no sound came out. The righteous indignation, the anger, the entitlement, it all vanished in a Nancon, replaced by pure, unadulterated terror. She recognized the photo. She recognized the moment. There was no spinning this. There was no, it's just an angle excuse. She was wrapped around another man like a vine. Mark, she whispered, that's not, don't. I cut her off. Don't insult my intelligence. It was a game. She blurted out, her voice pitching up into hysteria. We were playing a game, truth or dare. It meant nothing. He's gay. He's my cousin. Stop. I said. The word was sharp, like a whip crack. It's over. Sarah, who sent you that? Her eyes darted around, looking for a scapegoat. The anger flared up again, desperate and defensive. Did you follow me? Did you hire someone? You psycho, you stalked me. I didn't stalk you. I said I was asleep until your brother texted me. That hit her harder than the photo. She recoiled as if I'd slapped her. Dave, she gasped. Dave sent that. Dave thinks you're messy. I said, and he thinks I deserve better. He's right. She started to cry, then not the angry tears from before, but the ugly, desperate tears of someone realizing the walls are closing in. She reached out to grab my arm. I took a step back out of her reach. Mark, please. She sobbed, snot running down her nose. Please, let's just go home. Let's talk about this. I was drunk. I made a mistake. I love you. You know, I love you. We're a team. You can't throw away 3 years over one photo. I can't. I said, and I did, but where will I go? She wailed. I have nowhere to go. My parents won't take me. If Dave told them, Mark, you're my home. I was your safety net. I corrected and you cut the ropes. People were really staring now. Linda looked uncomfortable behind the desk. Jeff was stepping closer, sensing the volatility. Mark, look at me. She tried to summon that old manipulation, the do-eyed look that used to make me fold. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'll do anything. I'll block him. I'll never go out again. Just tell me what you need me to do. I looked at her. I looked at the woman who had told me less than 12 hours ago that I wasn't man enough to trust her. I felt absolutely nothing. No love. No hate. Just the desire to get back to my spreadsheet. You said something to me last night. I said, my voice carrying clearly in the quiet lobby. You said, you don't need to know where I'm going. She flinched. Well, I continued. Now, the tables have turned. I don't care where you go. Sarah, I don't care who you're with. And you don't need to know where I'm going either. I looked at Jeff and nodded. Jeff, this woman is trespassing. Please escort her out. No. Sarah screamed as Jeff moved in, grabbing her arm firmly, but professionally. Mark, don't do this. You can't do this to me. It's already done. I said. I turned my back on her. Mark? Her scream was guttural. Enough? It followed me as I walked back toward the elevators. I heard her heels clattering on the floor as she struggled, heard Jeff telling her to calm down, heard the heavy glass doors open and the sounds of the city swallow her up. I pressed the button for the 14th floor. The doors slid closed, cutting off the noise, the drama, and the toxicity. I adjusted my cufflinks. I took a deep breath. The elevator started to rise. And for the first time in 3 years, I felt like I was truly going up. The fallout wasn't an explosion. It was a slow, pathetic crumble. Jeff, the security guard, later told me that Sarah sat on the curb outside the building for an hour, crying into her phone before a beaten up Honda Civic pulled up to collect her. It was her mother. I didn't watch. I was upstairs closing a deal that would secure my bonus for the quarter. That evening, my phone burst. It was Dave. Dave. She's at mum and dad's. Mum is crying. Dad is furious. She tried to spin it that you were controlling and abusive. I showed them the photo. They stopped yelling at you and started yelling at her. Dave. I'm sorry. Men, just wanted you to know she won't be bothering you at the apartment. Dad took her keys. I texted back, thanks, Dave. Let's grab a beer next week. My treat, and that was it. The silence I had craved for so long finally settled over my life. In the weeks that followed, I learned just how much chaos tax I had been paying. Without Sarah's impulsive spending, her emergencies, and her need for constant entertainment, My bank account started to look unrecognizable. I had money, real money. I hired a cleaning service. I bought high thread count sheets. I started sleeping 8 hours a night. The dark circles under my eyes vanished. My co-workers noticed. They said I looked 10 years younger. Meanwhile, through the grapevine of mutual friends I hadn't blocked, I heard about Sarah's trajectory. The guy from the party, his name was Kyle. He was a 24-year-old aspiring DJ who slept on a mattress on the floor. He ghosted Sarah 2 days after she showed up at my office. Apparently, he was looking for a fun night, not a homeless girlfriend with baggage. Sarah tried to spin a narrative on social media, vague posts about toxic men and finding yourself, but nobody bought it. In our circle, reputation is currency, and she was bankrupt. She was 29 years old, living in her childhood bedroom, sleeping in a twin bed, and working shift hours at a retail clothing store because she couldn't afford a car to commute to the city for marketing gigs. I didn't feel happy about her misery. I didn't feel sad either. I felt the way you feel when you hear about a stranger crashing their car because they were texting. It's a tragedy, but it was entirely preventable. And I wasn't in the passenger seat anymore. I was free. 6 months later, I received an invite to a wedding. Mike, a college buddy of mine, was marrying his longtime girlfriend. Sarah and I had both been invited months ago. Back when we were a happy couple, I debated not going. I knew she might be there. But then I looked in the mirror. I was in the best shape of my life. I had just been promoted to senior consultant. I had nothing to hide and nothing to fear. I went alone. The reception was at a vineyard. It was elegant, expensive, and beautiful. I mingled, holding a scotch, laughing with old friends. I didn't scan the room for her. I didn't care. But inevitably, the universe forced the encounter. I was standing near the open bar, waiting for a refill, when I felt a tap on my shoulder. I turned around. It was Sarah. She looked tired. That was the only word for it. She was wearing a dress. I recognized one she had bought 3 years ago. Her hair was done, but her smile was tight, strained. She looked like someone who was trying very, very hard to project happiness and failing. Mark, she said. Her voice was small. Sarah. I nodded. Paulit bout destin. Good to see you. I turned back to the bartender, took my drink, and started to walk away. Wait, she said, stepping in front of me. She looked desperate for engagement. Can we just talk for a second? Please. I feel like we never got closure. I stopped. I looked at her. I got my closure when I saw the photo. Sarah. She flinched, but she pressed on. I know I messed up. I've been doing a lot of work on myself. I'm living at home, saving money. It's been really humbling. Good for you. I said, I hope it works out. I miss you. She blurted out. She reached for my hand, but I shifted my glass, effectively dodging her touch. I miss my best friend. I miss the life we had. Looking at you now, you look amazing. You look happy. I am happy. I said simply, is there... She bit her lip, looking up at me with those eyes that used to work on me. Is there any world where we grab a coffee just to catch up? I'm not that girl anymore. Mark, I learned my lesson. I realized that what I was looking for out there, I already had it at home. I looked around the room. I saw the happy couple dancing. I saw people laughing. Then I looked back at Sarah. I didn't see a monster. I didn't see a villain. I just saw a bad investment. Sarah, I said, my voice calm and final. You didn't learn a lesson because you wanted to grow. You learned a lesson because you lost. You traded a man who would have given you the world for a guy who wouldn't even give you a ride home. The next morning, she opened her mouth to argue, tears welling up in her eyes. Mark, that's not fair. It's facts. I said, you told me to trust you. And I do trust you. Now, I trust that you will always chase the next shiny thing. And I trust that I'm better off without it. I took a sip of my scotch. I don't hate you. Sarah, I just don't need you. Excuse me. I stepped around her. I didn't look back to see if she was crying. I didn't look back to see if she was angry. I walked across the dance floor toward Dave, who was waving me over from a table of friends. He handed me a beer and clapped me on the back. Who was that friend? Asked. Glancing at the woman standing alone by the bar, nobody, I said, clinking my glass against Dave's, just someone I used to know. The music swelled. The laughter rose. And I didn't think about her for the rest of the night. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. What do you think about this story? Share it in the comments.